is an interesting feeling. My float plane took off and I'm literally all alone in the remote northern Yukon. I'm going to be on the river for about 14 days and looking really forward to it. Another awesome adventure kicking off. Well, here we are in beautiful Whitehorse, Yukon, and I am at Up North Adventures, and this is the place that I get everything ready before I head out on my trip. Tomorrow I'm leaving first thing in the morning to drive to Mayo, and I'm jumping on a float plane which is going to drop me off on a remote lake in the mountains called Elliott Lake. I'm going to follow Elliott Lake all the way to the Hart River, and I'm going to continue down the Hart to the Peel and finish my trip 300 kilometers later, where I'm going to rendezvous with a float plane to take me back out of the wilderness. So I'm super excited, have a few kind of pre-trip jitters going on here. Up North Adventures is the place in the Yukon that can give you vehicle shuttles, they can rent you boats. They have a full outfitting store with all the things you need to get your trip off the ground here. If you're interested in doing an adventure in the Yukon, give Up North Adventures a shout. This is Nikki. She works with Up North Adventures. She's kind of a big deal, and it's the gears of the operation around here.
Some people might recognize the name. My great-great-grandfather's name is Skookum Jim. He had something to do with the gold rush back in the day. You could Google him.
Wasn't he the guy who basically discovered,
yeah,
who started the entire gold rush?
Yeah, that's the guy.
That's wild. And so he's your great-great-grandfather?
Yes.
Wow, that is super cool. We just arrived at Alcan Air, and this is a float plane base near Mayo. And Mayo is known as the heart of the Yukon, which is interesting because I'm paddling the Hart River, H-A-R-T, in the heart of the Yukon. So I feel like there's a dad joke in there.
The dark and the clouds on a rainy day. Oh, the fire in the hills and I'm headed your way. Oh, it's alright, baby, don't be afraid. I'm just giving heads up on my dangerous ways. And I know everything I touch burns right down to dust, 'cause I'm reckless.
Well, thank you, yeah. I will. So a lot of forest fire smoke in there. I actually saw smoke from an active forest fire burning, but fortunately nowhere near me. That is an interesting feeling. My float plane took off. I'm literally all alone in the remote northern Yukon. And it is beautiful, surrounded by giant mountains. No place to camp here. I have a long, shallow creek to contend with before getting to the Hart River proper. You know, I think I'm just gonna start paddling. Another awesome adventure kicking off. And we are off. Didn't make it too far. So I just checked my map again and it's over 20 kilometers of this. So who knows how long it'll take me or what the conditions will be like, but a bit at a time. Oh, that is a tank grayling. The biggest grayling I've ever seen right here. Wow. It came up and tried to get my lure, but it didn't hit. There we go. Yes. Oh, lost it. There we go. That's the color they like, is silver. Yeah. Oh, right in the boat. Sweet. Oh, it's a whitey. Whitefish, baby. Maybe that's why the other one was so big. It wasn't a grayling, it was a whitefish. Well, it took a while here, but you know, I'm chalking it up as a little R&D, figuring out what kind of fish are here, what's biting. Exciting to catch a whitefish and see what was probably one that was probably 4 pounds, just a giant. And yeah, they seem to like the small mouths, so number 1 or a 0 meps silver is what I was getting the action on. A lot of follows on the bigger lures, but no strikes. It's like about a 30-foot float here. And I'm back out of the boat. One little pocket here is like waist deep, so let's paddle backwards. Looks like on the map it opens up a little bit on the next stretch, hopefully. Looks like I might have to get out again right here though. Man, this is going to take me a long time if it keeps up like this. Like I've probably done like 3K and I have 20. And out of the boat again. I'm just sitting on the back here like this because it's easier to hop on and off, because there's literally pools that are too deep to wade and a few feet later you're stuck again. So hopefully it doesn't keep up for too much longer, man. I just ran up on some more rocks here for the shallow swift. I'm gonna have to get out and drag. And I stood up and it looks like there might be a place I can camp here. It's not the best, but I'm gonna get out and just check it out. I wouldn't want the water level to come up much more. I suppose I could pitch a tent on this. Really lumpy though, but it's certainly better than the rest of the stuff around here, which is like this. Well, this is definitely not the best, but I suppose it was doable. 7, but maybe I'll push on for another hour. I see some, like a little hill there, which means there might be some drier land over that way. Bit of a risk, but I think either way I'm not going to be camping in a primo site tonight. We'll see though. You know, most of the time, as long as there's at least enough flat area for me to lie down, you get out and you start hanging out and it starts to feel like home. So, but yeah, this time I think I'm gonna have to drag over all this, wade through all this, and then get down there, and hopefully that lump, that kind of like big hill I see, hopefully at the base of that there's something that's solid ground. So I'm gonna take the risk and move on a little bit. Creek's starting to pick up. All right, here we go. Yukon whitefish. Very mild. Very mild. Not as marked as a flavor as Grayling.
the only one.
Good morning, Yukon! These bags make things a lot easier when it comes to organizing and finding things in my food barrel. There's 3 of them, so I put like things together, but since it's a full load, I tuck all the remaining stuff around it. Bacon, that always hits a spot. I have 18 kilometers to go to get to the Hart River, and you know, this takes like a full 2 days, full day and a half if the water's higher than this. So I'm hoping I can get it done today and camp at the confluence of Elliott Creek and the Hart. A little creamer. A lot of creamer. Rationing your creamer for a trip this long is an advanced bushcrafting skill. What a beautiful place to have a morning coffee. Unbelievable. One of the reasons I keep coming back to the Yukon in the north is because you really get addicted to it. If you go once, chances are you're gonna come back. I remember one of the first northern trips I did was the Nahanni, when me and my brother were in our, I think my brother was 20, I was 22, and we did a self-guided trip, put it all on our credit cards, and everybody was saying, well, that's a once in a lifetime trip. And I just couldn't accept that this would be a once in a lifetime type of experience for me. And I've been doing this for 18 years, traveling remote northern rivers every year. I'm really glad I did it. I feel like the Yukon itself is a place that is built in a large sense off of people who followed their dreams. That statue in downtown Whitehorse that has a Klondike stampeder, and a lot of the people that came into the country to find gold found something else, and they found a connection to the Yukon's beauty and the true wilderness of it. Just like the Robert Service poem, The Spell of the Yukon. The guy went, he found gold, he was rich, got bored, would rather just live a life as a sourdough in the wilderness, didn't care about money. I find it important just to sit back and look at where I've come and the experiences that I've had. Definitely not getting down this without dragging. Oh man, this is shallow. Looks like the water has gone down. Just gotta try to do a push day today. Super shallow. It's not even wading, this is just dragging over rocks at this point. Can we make it down this little tongue here? It's looking not too good. There's no doubt it's all gonna work out. Oh yeah! Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say, I don't want to jinx myself, that it's gotten a little better. Oh, baby ducks, baby ducks. Well, things started off pretty rough, but they have picked up here on Elliott Creek, and I've actually managed to float over some shallow swifts. It's picking up speed. It's becoming easier to navigate without jumping out, yet a little more tricky and potentially an area where you might get to run into problems if those shallow swifts get any steeper and faster, but I don't think it'll be anything too crazy. Also, it could change around the next bend, who knows? Well, that was like a half wade, half run. Definitely a lot faster than the long wading stretches. Oh! That was a hard thud. Mark from Up North Adventures. I apologize for the scrapes on your boat. Probably going to be a little gel coat repair after this. Caught one. A big, nice grayling. Whoa, yeah. Good eating size. There's a big oxbow lake here. An oxbow lake is when a creek or a river takes big bends like that. The sediment builds up in between the bends and the main river diverts from it, leaving a horseshoe style lake that looks like an oxbow. And that's what you call an oxbow lake. Sometimes they're still connected by water, sometimes they're completely separate, but it just goes to show how rivers change over time, especially ones that bend and weave. We're here. We have to go all the way to here.
There's a train coming, it ain't got no track. I'm on the high road and I'm never coming back without freedom. You carry that whip just to lead the blind. It ain't gonna be long before I leave this behind to find my freedom.
Another tributary. It's gonna give us some more water. Well, with more trees close to the river now, it means potential for sweepers. Even something I might have to pick up and portage around or haul over, and they can also be dangerous. So I got to keep my eyes peeled a little bit more than upriver. I noticed another tributary pouring in, so maybe we'll have a little volume. Not much water coming out of it though, but it looks like we got some current and deep conditions here. So much water's getting in the canoe from my boots. I'm wondering if it's making me float lower. Starting to get a little concerned. This could take me like 4 days or more. Well, I just dragged down a very, very long, shallow, rocky swift. I cut a pole and I was hoping maybe I could stand and see the rocks and pole, but as soon as I stepped in the canoe, I was stuck. And I was able to float it, but by the end I was just dragging it. A little deeper water up here I see, but my guess is it won't last for long, but that was pretty arduous. So I don't think I'm gonna make it today unless I really want to push. I'm probably gonna push late, but I should make it tomorrow, but I might only just make it tomorrow. So that's like gonna be, you know, potentially 2.5 days, 2 full days and a half day when I got dropped off. just saw 3 chunky grayling swimming in this crystal clear pool of water here. So I had to pull over and take a couple casts. Oh, yeah, yeah. Look at that. Love it. Fish, crystal clear water. You can paddle. Oh, got another one. Oh, huge. Oh, I lost it. Oh, look, it's trying to hit it. Bam! There it is. There it is. Come here. Oh, it's not the same big one. What a little honey hole I found here. Yeah. Woo! Look at that. That is a thing of beauty. Well, it has been a pretty long and challenging day today. I've only made it maybe a bit more than halfway to the Hart River on Elliott Creek, so I'm definitely dealing with some low water conditions, and I'm basically walking Elliott Creek. Well, it's a little bit cramped up where I'm putting the tent, so I think I'm going to do my cooking right down here. Nice spot. Well, this is the spot I'm working with. Way better than yesterday. Enough room for my tent and flat, so I will take it. Well, guess we're about to see how beat up the bottom of my canoe got today. Got a couple scratches in the gel coat. Well, I am starving, and since I got to camp a little earlier, I think I might cook up some stew, some fish stew actually. So it's about dinner time. My tummy's telling me it's dinner time. Okay, so I'm putting a little olive oil in this pot. Spices here. Next, we're putting in some parsley. I know it's parsley because I wrote parsley there. Okay, now I'm gonna add tomatoes. These are finely chopped tomatoes. Okay, now we're gonna get crazy with the spices. We're getting fancy, we're getting gourmet out here. Gonna add some thyme. Gonna add some black pepper. Salt. Throw in some basil. Oh man, this is gonna be epic. Look at that. Now we have the special ingredient, clam juice. I'm serious, clam juice. And then the final ingredient, Arctic grayling, filleted up and cut into little squares. This is way more fish than the recipe called for, but I'm just kind of winging it. We just gotta let that fish cook. We're gonna have a hearty fish stew here. Now, the reason I made a tripod, I can raise and lower the pot to get it to the perfect heat, and it's a lot better than just putting the pot right on the fire or even on a grill, which I don't have. You can really regulate that heat, and then you don't have to worry about your pot tipping over and dumping in. Oh, and I almost forgot one last little ingredient, bacon bits. Bacon, it makes everything better. Wow, a lot of flavor. Check if the fish is cooked. Chunks of fish are cooked. Oh man, I'm gonna pound all this pretty quick. It's kind of a little spicy. Must have added a little more pepper than necessary, but I like it. I'm just gonna lift that up as high as it will go on the tripod and let it cool, and then I'm just gonna devour it and go to bed. I was supposed to get to bed early today, but then I did this whole mission of whipping up stew, and man, I want a good meal, but I'm just gonna have to wake up early and not sleep as much as I'd hoped, but I think it was worth it. As long as the creek doesn't dry up and I'm screwed, it was worth it. Good morning. The sun was hidden behind those mountains, and it just cracked up beyond that mountain ridge and starting to spread a little bit more warmth. Despite going to bed around 1 a.m. or 1:45 last night, I managed to drag my ass out of bed at 6 a.m., which isn't bad considering I got a lot of exercise yesterday. So I'm not gonna get a super early jump on the day. However, I'm gonna get on the water, or on the rocks, I should say. In the water, I don't know, I'm not really on water. I'm more just sitting on rocks with a little water running in between the canoe and the rocks. Yeah, so the drag will start. I'm halfway there, which is pretty discouraging. I'm gonna try to get out of camp relatively early, and today, you know, I don't even know if I'm gonna keep a fish today. I'm just gonna just push and do my very best to make it. Even if I don't make it to like 12:30, it's still light out here at 12:30. I think that's probably gonna be the plan today. This is not one of the more enjoyable things that I do out here. Finding stuff in the food barrel. The barrel and harness is made by Recreational Barrel Works, and those little bags are as well. It just makes life a lot easier.
Jim Baird eats porridge, riveting scene.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good campsite. Nice space here for the fire, easy enough, close to get water, flat spot for the tent. A little spread out where I had to have my fire in a tent, or a little too far. You have to do a bit of a bushwhack to get from one spot to the other, but I liked it. And here's what the rest of my breakfast looks like. Fruit source bar, dried fruit, which in this case is Thai honey mango, delicious. And last but not least, some pre-cooked bacon. On the water, day 3. What does it have in store? Well, it looks like we're gonna get right into the dragging. Maybe 50 meters from my campsite, another shallow swift, so kind of takes away the saying it feels good to get back on the water though, for sure. Feels good to get back stumbling along the rocks like an idiot, concerned and scared. Oh my goodness, I think I'm gonna make it down this one, ladies and gents. I'm trying to keep with the deepest channel here. I did it! I made it down. Whoa, this is beautiful though. Oh my God, a huge grayling. Oh my goodness. That was bigger than anything I've caught so far. Just like freaking tank. Probably 2 pounds for sure. Water's definitely gotten colder. Some of those tributaries are cold. Oh, this is so beautiful. Wow. So far the day has been amazing. That is just what you call inspiring country right there. Ooh. We have what looks like a rapid here, but that's a sweeper. I do not want to crash into that down tree in the river. That would spell disaster. Probably bump and grind down this one, but it would just trash my boat too much. I'm gonna line it. Oh man, should have made it to here. It's a sick campsite. Definitely an emerald tinge to it. Well, that lining went well, but now there's some interesting tight turns here. At least I can paddle though. Getting more interesting. Another sweeper here. River's starting to get pushier. Have to be a little more careful or I get pinned or just smash, maybe flip, current fills up the boat, running sideways into boulders. That was a rapid, pretty much. Yeah, I'm doing it! Making pretty good time, guys. Water is just emerald. Well, at this point, I'm not afraid of the creek drying up. I'm afraid of the creek pushing me into a sweeper. I suppose it's a good problem to have. I think I should make it today if it keeps up like this, which is great news.
Watch as the world falls away. Here we are lying. At sunrise the moon starts to wane, living and dying. And the oceans echo out their deep refrain. And the river answers, I'll make you whole again. Come away, there's no use staying. You've been living just for today, to strikes and breaks apart the night. But the sparks will burn out long before they light.
Oh, this is beautiful. It's open right up. A couple more tributaries. We still got this absolutely crystal clear water. It's gotten even clearer and incredible scenery. So today, I think it's safe to say so far is working out a lot better than I thought it was going to. Well, I don't want to get too ahead of myself because it could change. It could get shallower and I still have about 10 kilometers to go. So maybe about 8. But it's really hard to judge because the river just winds and curves back and forth and back and forth. Ooh, that looks pretty sketchy. And that is what I was talking about. No room to go on the other side. There's a really sketchy sweeper, no way past that one. Very intimate, bends and twists, emerald clear water, some of the most beautiful water I've ever seen. Just made it. Whew. I should not have taken the time to pull out my GoPro. That's why that happened. I came around a corner and saw a steep drop with ripping current rocks, and I see just a down tree across the river. The top's broken off of it, so essentially it's just a log blocking the whole river with ripping current. And of course I thought this was, you know, some exciting video footage for all of you to see, so I took the time to bust out my other GoPro as I'm coming downriver, and that almost did me in because I careened nearly sideways into this thing. If you got stuck on that, it would just be really bad. You'd pin, you get injured, your canoe would flip, potentially pinned against it, like total nightmare. Hopefully no more surprise sweepers. That could cause some serious problems. These rivers and creeks are always changing, so it's hard to tell on the map too. The map was taken from aerial surveys probably in the 70s. There were no real maps of the north until the 70s, I believe. You're just going off old explorers notes and these kinds of things is the best that anyone had. Then you don't know what water level the aerial photos were taken at too. So there's all kinds of islands that might have shifted, side sloughs that weren't there that now are, or, you know, etc., with this current is always at work, eroding away the banks and creating new passages. This is a really cool section. We're just butting right up against the foot of a mountain here as the creek is taking a sharp right turn. We have some interesting stuff to contend with up here. Oh, this is sketchy. Sweeper, tight turn, 2 boulders. Oh man, this looks bouldery class 1 here. A rapid continuing, actually. Whoa. A little low in the water almost to call that a rapid, but I also call it a class 1. That one just sort of came up on me. Rounded a corner, I was looking at the mountain, and all of a sudden, whoa, boulder, boulder, boulder. Well, it appears we have some fun yet. I just came into a braided stretch of the creek here, and I don't know, I took the only braid that looked like it wasn't just loaded with sweepers and danger, and sure enough I ran out of water, and the only way down is blocked. So I'm gonna bust out the saw and line the canoe down. Hopefully not too much more like this, but yeah, unexpected. Things were going pretty smoothly. Hopefully we don't have too much more of that kind of stuff to contend with. That was the biggest, it's short, but that was the most substantial drag. Like I had to drag the canoe over some rocks there at the very end. But that just bit into my time pretty significantly. Beautiful clear water pool here. A couple of graylings swimming in it. It's almost a surreal experience. As I'm wading along these channels in this braided section of creek, I'm looking down at this crazy emerald clear water, and I can just see chunky Arctic grayling swimming in the current, waiting for food to come down river, and it's really, really awesome. I don't know what it is, but something about it just seems almost surreal. Sweepers. Another couple around the corner. This is the kind of thing you could peel around a corner and it could pop out of nowhere. And a swift current, you could be in a lot of trouble. Well, shouldn't be too much further now. I'm gonna make it today. And there it is. The Hart River, I made it! Yes! Oh, it looks so beautiful. One last little rapid, maybe I can make it down here. Looks like there's a decent place to camp on the left there. That is it, I did it! I was starting to think I was never gonna do it. Whoa. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm on the Hart River. Definitely it's not as clear as Elliott Creek. It almost has like an emerald color with silt in it. And I am going to camp right here. Don't mind if I do. That was another long day. It's about 7:30. Got on the water at 9:30. So long haul for me on Elliott Creek. I imagine it would be a lot easier for some people when the water level's higher, you know, and or somebody who's, you know, not as heavy as a person as me. I'm sure it beat the heck out of the bottom of this canoe, but I mean, that's what these expedition grade canoes can handle. Between all the endless wading and dragging and the anxiety about, am I gonna make it? Is this river gonna dry up? To then finding out that, hey, it's not so bad, feeling a little elated, getting to paddle some rapids and tricky turns, to all of a sudden then getting stuck in shallow water again and having to drag and, you know, manage my way through braided river with sweepers and all kinds of sketchy stuff like that, to getting it done. And this is what I set out to do today, to get it done, and I got it done earlier than I thought I was going to do it, so I'm pretty happy about that. Now I have the Hart River. In front of me are some serious challenges. I'm going to have raging rapids, even class 3+ rapids, canyons, and on the Hart itself, and even more to come after that. So, but anyways, I'm going to yeah, see if I can catch a fish, and hopefully get to bed a little early, have a great night's sleep, and just enjoy this campsite in a beautiful evening. So awesome. Oh man, I am feeling tired. Sun's just beating down too. But I am going to show you an advanced bushcrafting technique. Glacier Fresh Tasting Kokanee. I forgot about these. This is all the booze I brought out here, 3 beer. But I figure it's a good celebratory time to have 1 or 3. Then I put the beers in. Now I'm gonna go place it in the water. Now by the time I have the tent set up and the fire going, I'm gonna have some ice cold beers. Yeah! Yeah. Just catching grayling every cast here. We're making tortilla pizzas. Tortillas keep a very long time when you're in the bush, and on top of that, they're thin. So when you're heating them up on a frying pan or however you heat them up, the heat travels through them and melts the cheese before the bread part burns. So I think, in my opinion, they're better than pitas. But usually I vacuum seal my pitas and both sides are squished together, so they're extra thick. So, I mean, there could be an argument there. I suggest taking the rest of the evening to think it over. Oh yeah, my beer! We have an ice cold beer. It tastes amazing. Crunchy bottom. The pizza sauce is what does it. I mean, let's be honest, anything with melted cheese is delicious. Next up, Grayling. Well, the water in Elliott Lake was pretty warm because it's a shallow lake, but with all the mountain runoff tributaries on Elliott Creek, by the end here, water's very cold, as it is in the Hart. Gentle. Welcome home. Thank you, Rock. Oh man, they feel so cold. Let's see. Absolutely ice cold. Nailed it. Not a huge fan of that pan I have. It's not a non-stick at all, so it kind of busts your meat apart, but still tastes good. Look at that, I just cook it whole and the bones just pull right out. You really waste no meat. This one's probably so good because I just caught it, so it's like super fresh. One thing about Grayling, they don't keep that well, probably why there's not a big commercial market for them. Easy to say, the best fish I've had in a very long time. Absolutely delicious. Thanks a lot, Thymelius arcticus. Well, I am extremely exhausted. Overall, it was a good day today. It worked out better than I was expecting. Bugs weren't bad. Usually in the evening, the bugs have been bad around camp. Few, but not bad. And found a really nice campsite here. There's a flatter area that's kind of beautifully spread out with almost looks like cobblestone from you know, high water gravel beds. But I didn't bother hauling all my stuff back there. I took the spot closer to the river, which is great. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the Hart River has in store tomorrow. I don't know really what's going to be going on. I think there might be some relatively relaxed paddling for a while. Scenery should pick up, so I'm hoping I can see some wildlife and get into some more fishing. But before too long, I'll be hitting some pretty intense rapids too, so I don't want to get too relaxed. I want to keep kind of focused on what lays ahead and make sure if I see a rapid coming out, I can jump over, give it a good scout, make sure it's something manageable. Anyways, yeah, last few things here, packing up, and I'm gonna head off to bed. Really exhausted today, but I feel good. It's a beautiful day. Oh man, I slept in today. I feel like I just got dehydrated with the hot weather and like I have a headache. My lips are dry, so I'm gonna go chug some water. But it looks like we have another beautiful day. Much needed rest. And I'm looking forward to having a coffee. Maybe catching a couple of fish. Anyways, yeah, gotta get at her, even though I could probably sleep a bit more. You remember my expedition from last year in the Yukon down the Bonnet Plume? I cut a hole in my dry suit and patched it using duct tape and patch glue. That's still what I'm using, so obviously it worked pretty well. All right, nice way to start out the day. Lots of pep in that guy. See a float plane on tires. Who knows where that's going to? That's the only sign of people that you'll see out here sometimes is float planes. And that's one of the reasons why it's good to take some sort of signaling device. You can carry whistling flares. They're on a little pen launcher. The only issue is that whistling flares work best at night and nobody's really searching at night if you were lost. And on top of that, it doesn't get dark. So I carry a colored smoke signal. I also carry whistling flares. They shoot about 400 feet high and there's a decent chance that somebody might see you. Lighting a fire also works, a big fire. So. This is more like it. Looks like the river water's clear enough. There's not so much silt that the back eddies are all clear. Well, looks like we still have some challenges with sweepers. Gotta stay on your toes. It's not just a leisurely float here on the Hart. Honestly, the best way I can describe this is just surreal. Just headed through a stretch of braided river here. The water color is like turquoise. Winding, good current, beautiful trees, huge mountains. Like, it's like an absolute dream. Like, is this place even real? Oh, river's a little spirited here. This is borderline a class 1. Called the Swift though. You can see here that wilderness canoe travel is definitely not all about the hardships and the physical challenges and danger and wondering if you're going to make it on time. There are times like this where it is the most peaceful, relaxing, and just beautiful spirit building thing there is in the world. I feel like this is the reward for dealing with the challenges on Elliott Creek, that now I just have a surreal, perfect day with perfect, beautiful traveling conditions, fish jumping in the water. What more could you ask for? I'm long gone for the Yukon, those northern lights I wanna see. I'm long gone for the Yukon, boys, for the Yukon is calling for me. Is this water too silty for there to be fish? I don't think so. It won't be as good as the clear stuff. But I just saw what looked like a big fish jump. Well, it hooked into something here, which is a good sign because it means that fish are biting, that the water is not that cloudy. Ooh, what a beauty. Look at that. Oh, goodbye. It's a really good sign. Sometimes on these some rivers, fishing isn't so good because, as you can see with this river, there's some sediment in it. That's what's giving it that kind of turquoise color, but it's not as crystal clear as Elliott Creek. However, the sediment, if there is much sediment, there must be. It's very, very fine, and the fish are still hitting in at areas where there's not a clear water tributary. So that's a really good sign. And what a beauty grayling that was too. That's awesome. Be interesting to see if we can get into any other kinds of fish. I know obviously there's some whitefish upriver, up Elliott Creek, but there might only be grayling in here. There might be some Dall Varden, which is similar to a bull trout. There could be some lake trout. Hopefully all of the above, but I'm happy with just grayling too. We have run out of current. There's a lot of slow meandering bends. To make it a kilometer the way the crow flies is more like paddling 2 kilometers. So much for the lackadaisical times. Looks like some decent camping along this river in a number of places. Sandbars, gravel bars, up the cut bank, flat areas with good access to the water. I think still surreal is the way I describe this river so far. I made pemmican this time. I rolled it into little balls like that. One of the traditional ways it was packaged. You can tell it's hot up when your pemmican looks like that. That'll give me some energy though. Well, I heard the sound of rushing water and I'm pulling up to what is a small tributary. On my map it shows that it's completely coming off the mountain, and you can see actually a patch of white snow up on the mountain where this is coming from. So it doesn't have like an alpine lake as its source. It's just completely mountain runoff, snow runoff, and probably a spring. So I'm gonna take water from here because I'm out of water. There's a second one in the water. Watching this one. Just a little one.
3 dark days. 3 dark days. 3 dark days since they locked me away. It's been 3 dark days.
Well, the river's a little more lively now, a little more current. Still tight bends and meandering. So it's still taking a while to get through this stretch.
Cold as hell. It's been cold as hell in my lonely cell. It's cold as hell.
Well, it's a tad disappointing, but it's looking like I'm not going to make it nearly the 34 kilometers I was hoping to make it today, and that has a lot to do with just a lot of slack water. Even though it's picked up for the last while, that really kind of dug into my time. One of the things, even though the bonnet plume was challenging, that's the river in the Yukon I paddled last summer. There was a ton of portages that took a long time and rapids that needed scouting and that. When there was a section of navigable river without a ton of obstructions, you could just kind of fly down it. Seeing a winding river like that is something more common to see in the prairies, yet there's giant mountains all around. So that tells me that there's a good chance that this river predates the surrounding mountains. That this river was here, not following the exact channel, but more or less the course of the river and the river valley haven't changed immensely as mountains have built up around it over millennia. Look at the watercolor, how it changes as soon as it gets deep. It's incredible. Just coming down the river here and something caught my eye. Oh, and I see a boat stashed too, and what looks like a cache up in the trees. So yeah, maybe this is a camp used by native people in season some years. I'm not sure. I'm gonna go take a quick peek though. Maybe it's an old gold hermit who's gonna shoot me if he sees me poking around too, is the other exciting thing. Fire pit, John boat. See that boat how it has a flat bottom. That way it has a shallow draft and it could travel up the rapids. Oh man, looks like a bear. Well, here's the cache. Let's see, up there is a wall tent with poles, some gas, stovepipe, and the ladder. Oh man, yeah, double burner Coleman stove up there. Some basins, some pots. I don't really have anything. I'd like to get up there and re-tarp it for them, but I don't have a spare tarp. You can see something's gotten up there and ripped at it. Didn't find any food. Could be just wind and the weather, but that canvas is tough. Those tents aren't cheap, so no one just literally just leaves those in the woods. They usually come back and get them, so I imagine that the people will be back this year before it's destroyed. Maybe they horse pack into here from somewhere else. I'm thinking that might be what's going on here. Look at this. Look at this backdrop here. Well, I'm seeing some picks and shovels too, so could be a camp that people prospected out of. They shut down prospecting in this area because it's part of the Peel River watershed. So maybe at one time it was used more heavily. Picks, shovels, I mean, these are definitely things that prospectors use in the area. But it tells me that there might be some gold in this immediate area. For them to go to all that trouble means probably someone found something and then they tried a little harder. Took her a second to figure out what the heck I was because I was busy eating, but I had to film while trying to control the canoe with one hand as I'm currently going down a bit of a swift here, but that was pretty special. I was close too. You got to be careful because sometimes they can be defensive if they have calves. So getting close, if they have a calf, I couldn't see whether she had a calf or not. And there's not much water in between me and her, so it made me a little nervous, but not really anything to be worried about in the end, or typically, but pretty cool. The sun is behind that cloud there. What a beautiful evening. Current has definitely picked up. Smell a tinge of forest fire smoke in the air. Day 2, I really smelled it in the winter. Whoa! Whoa! Didn't see that one coming. Things are starting to get a little more interesting here on the Hart River. Well, I'm coming up to the mouth of a tributary creek. I think I might call it home for the night. It's right at the base of this really fun little rapid. Looks pretty good. Lots of space. Not a bad view either. Looks like some people might have been here on account of that being cut off. But then again, I suppose that could have come from anywhere and just washed up there. Caribou prints. Looks like a caribou just walked through here not too long ago. Definitely not today, but so first caribou prints I've seen. That's cool. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna cut my losses and set camp up here. Caribou, good fishing. Looks like maybe there is a fire ring there. Well, I took a couple casts to see if there are fish here before I picked this campsite, and I caught a couple. I should have kept those ones, but I thought, well, I better get out and look to see if it's flat before staying. Oh, there we go. Look how beautiful. That one feels nice. Chunky grayling. Maybe I took about 10 casts or so. These are so fresh. A little too much oil. I got to very tightly ration my oil, but I brought a little lard too. Lard's a great thing to bring. It renders down to liquid. It doesn't spill, and it's lighter than oil. Oh yeah. There she goes, ladies and germs. She's a little beat up because of the pan, but pretty tasty. Let's get into it. Yum. You come to a place like this and you fish it and, oh, I need some, like, you rely on fish. I'm gonna pop down, catch dinner, 10 minutes, 2 perfect keepers. You're making pretty much zero impact. Pretty special that there are still places like this. To the Yukon. That's just water, but that's all I got. I get a little basic forecast on my inReach, and it's looking like there's going to be some clouds, 40% chance of rain tomorrow, and 70% chance of rain the following day. So it looks like I will get some rain out here, but that's okay. Well, my stove ran out of gas while I was setting up the tent, unfortunately, so I gotta refill it. Hopefully the water doesn't cool too much. I keep my stove gas in these pop bottles, these plastic soda bottles. I just put a piece of duct tape around the top. They don't leak. They seem to work pretty well. Couple nose hairs short. I know. This is the part of the video that you all have been waiting for. Me silently eating oatmeal. I guess I'm gonna try to make it about 40 clicks today, but I'm gonna be getting a late start, so hopefully it all works out. Finally in the boat and on the river. Man, it can take some time between breaking camp and getting all of my filming stuff organized, filming everything, getting the solar panel out. Another epic day. Wow, this watercolor is just like a glowing emerald now. It had a little more sediment in it up by Elliott Creek, but all the tributaries have just been crystal clear, and it's just gorgeous, gorgeous color. Just a little bit of a glowing turquoisey, emeraldy color, a greenish hue, just epic. You can tell the water's reasonably low because some of the grades and side sloughs marked on my map are dry and there's no water going down them at all. Just trying to do a good job here of watching my place on the map all the time. It's easy to sort of start paddling and then totally forget where you are. So I have the map right in front of me here, and I'm just looking at tributaries, mountains, grades, gravel bars, things that are marked on the map, and then I put them together with what I see around me. The bends in the river is another one, key one. And I have a good idea at all times of where I am. Hard to believe that it's already day 5. So I have a week left counting today. Like you could call this a class 1 up here. Got a rapid here. Looks like it picks up. Well, I just pulled over to stretch my legs here a little. Beautiful freaking day, a little cooler than yesterday, possibly the best day yet for traveling, and I'm in a very long rapid. I just pulled over because I want to just take a peek around the next corner actually, because it looks like it might get big. So this is like a swift, a class 1 I can handle, but I want to make sure that I don't get into some really pushy river and get pushed into something that, you know, I'm going to want to spray deck for, or going to want to run, you know, without all my gear in the boat. So just trying to be careful because I'm out here in an extremely remote area alone, and with this kind of current, if you dump and you lose your boat, it can be gone for miles and miles. So major issue. Anyways, yeah, it looks like it just kind of continues like this, gets a little bigger, so I think I'm okay. Gets calm here for a bit. I couldn't really scout it too well, but looks like there might be some boulders and some interesting whitewater up here. Shallow. Just gonna go for it. Probably just a proper class 1. Yeah, I'd say between Elliott Creek and some of the challenges and tight bends and stuff on this river too, it's not an easy river. There hasn't been any crazy portaging or rapids yet, but they're to come. This is the easy part. Looks like just a few big boulders to dodge here. Nothing of too much concern. Some big standing waves near the bottom though. Oh, that's a big rock. There's some waves. That's a class 1. Woo! Big boulder here. If you hit that, you'd be in trouble. You could actually wrap around that. I still can't get over the beauty of the watercolor and just around every bend, there's just another epic mountain vista. Well, we got something that looks a little tricky up here. Going through a stretch of braided river. There's a really tight turn, potential sweeper. Looks pretty freaking tight. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna jump out and line this. Ha! That looks I can't believe this whole river. I just picked the wrong braid. That's all there is to it. Sweeper right across the channel though. I'm just going to line past this. It does get deep to the right of it, but right along here I couldn't even float, so if I was trying to paddle, it'd be swept to the left. I wouldn't have time to get right to pass it, and I'd run right into it. If I made it under that one, I'd hit the next ones. Oh yeah, that's fun. With water this clear, really there's grayling in any of these back eddies. You don't have to wait till there's a tributary that's clear water. Had to back ferry there to open up the angle. But yeah, a little bit technical, so we'll call that a class 2. But yeah, that's the first real whitewater challenge of the trip, I'd say. Things are looking like they're starting to get interesting in the whitewater department. We got some tricky currents down here. Might be time to put the old spray deck on and dry suit for good measure. Starting to get the old ticker going pretty good. I'm gonna take it left. Miss everything because I don't have the spray deck, so I'm gonna miss all the fun whitewater. Or else I would have just bombed that. I don't feel like bailing. Woo! Well, I've only done about 7 clicks today, which isn't that good, but it is what it is. No rapids this insignificant get marked on these topographic maps. So if you see something marked, you know it's something pretty intense. Yeah, imagine at higher water, Less rocks to dodge, but more big fun waves. Cool. I just saw a bull caribou. That was awesome. Beautiful animal. Wow. So that's a moose and a caribou. Just headed through a very braided section of river here, and I gotta kind of keep on my toes a bit, make sure I don't go down the wrong channel that could be too shallow or narrow with sweepers. Oh, we have pretty much a cross river sweeper, but it looks high enough for me to get under it. About a class 1 rapid here I'm in the midst of, so I'm gonna keep my boat with the stern pointed to the right so I can back ferry and try not to get swept too far left. There we go, that's the angle I want. That's called the backwater brace. And right under it. Woo! Yeah, that's gonna come right down and gonna be completely blocking the river. The river widens into multiple braids about 1.5 kilometers wide. But I think I did pretty good picking the right channels. That's a good wave. Definitely a class 1. Even if I would have hit that, I would have smashed the bottom of my boat, so that was one to avoid. Some whitewater. Whee! Nice little wave train there, actually. Sweeper. Not deep enough to steer. That's something you run into, fast current, but you can't steer because it's too shallow. So your paddle won't sink in the water. Looks like some pretty big waves in this one. Oh shit. And some rocks. Should have stayed far right, like I was planning on. And I was like, no, left will be fine. Oh, shit. Rocks. I could have avoided that. It's almost like if the water was low, you could just tell, like that would have just been exposed and you'd be like, oh, I can't go that way. It makes the channel more obvious. Not that I'm gonna dump, but berries. Lots of wild berries. So I think I might take a quick break here and eat what I think are low brush Arctic raspberries. Not 100% sure, but let me know if these are Arctic raspberries. They sure taste yummy though. I'm not so good at conserving the berries in a hat. Find many get just eaten along the way. Oh, this is a jackpot here. They kind of taste like a raspberry, but a little bit like a strawberry too. I think a little like a wild strawberry, which are delicious. You see, when you pick them, they keep their tops, that little part, just like a strawberry does, whereas a raspberry, you pull it off of the core. But they have the little balls like raspberry, so they're almost like a hybrid between the two. So there is a big animal in the bush somewhere over there as I'm eating these berries. And they're going, breathing. Can't see any movement though. Could be a bear. Well, polish off those berries. Hopefully the grizzly bear doesn't come join me, or whatever's in the woods over there. All I need now is a juice box. That'd be a throwback lunch. This is the Yukon's territorial flower, fireweed it's called. Well, that was a nice pit stop. Time to get out there and dodge some more sweepers. Leave the berries for the grizzly bear. Yeah, right across from the berry patch. Surprise, surprise, it's like I'm like, okay, maybe it's just the rocks eroding away from the riverbed. Then I realized there was not a rocky cut bank there. And I heard like that. And I didn't hear anything else, so that might have been the noise it made when it smelled me and then decided to take off. But good chance that was a bear. Very good chance. Okay, we're coming into, man, tight turn here. This is the kind of spot where I might have to just panic and bail. This is interesting. I gotta keep looking down river. Well, there's a sweeper. It looks like I'm gonna be able to get under it though. Now the current's just pushing into a bunch of logs. See how much this river can change too. Like, this might not have been here a couple days ago. That's what I don't like about these braided sections of the river. And what happens is sometimes there's a little place to pass in between the gravel bar and the top of the tree. But if that's too shallow to sink a paddle blade, you can't steer. And you just get pushed into the bank and into the low part of the overhanging sweeper. You can see there where a huge rock slide, the cliff just gave way and it just tumbled and just demolished the forest below. That's recent. Crazy. That would have been a sight to see. I don't like that sweeper. Oh, some boils. Woo. It's pretty late in the afternoon and I'm going to try to bang off another 15 or 20K. It just needs to be done. I'm not looking forward to it, but it needs to be done.
Change my ways, change my ways. They told me I could leave soon if I changed my ways.
I'm just pulling over because I saw something that looked pretty crazy stuck in this bluff here. In areas where somehow the glaciers skipped them, you can sometimes see mammoth tusks and mammoth bones sticking out of the side of cut banks and bluffs alongside the river like this. But I don't think this is what that is, but I saw something interesting. It looked like some old bones, an old skull, maybe an old moose skull. In the museum at Whitehorse is a steppe bison skull someone just found like this. Prehistoric type of bison. Couple pieces of bone here. Well, was it worth pulling over? I think so. Pretty cool. Probably didn't exactly add a ton of distance to my schedule today.
Well, I'm still in this broad sweeping valley and it's tricky. The bends in the braids of this very braided section of river, there's sweepers, there's pushy current, they're tight, the turns are very tight. I've made it today about 25 kilometers. I'm going to try to bang off another 11K. Looks like the rain is going to be upon me. It's coming right for me right now, actually. Done 30 kilometers today. Where I camp, I'm gonna have done 35. So that means I've paddled 80 kilometers by the end of today total. That means I have 220 left to do in 5 days. That's horrible. Why was I thinking that I would have more time on this trip? If I'm 80 kilometers in on this trip, that means I have to bang off 44 kilometers per day to make it to my end point in the next 5 days. That's kind of a lot considering I have rapids and stuff like that. So yeah, I better start dragging my ass out of bed at 5:30 in the morning. When I paddled the Hess, I banged off 100K in one shot on the Stewart. I wasn't sure if there's just logs in there or what, but it's just a straight up class 2 standing wave. Shouldn't be too much longer before we get to camp now. Hoping that the spot I've chosen, there's a tributary there. I'm hoping it's half decent. Just coming up to an old burn. There's something always a little eerie, a little haunting about an old burn, but it's cool at the same time. Amazing how it just came up here and this is where it stopped. This is all green and that's all burnt. I'm not sure when this fire was, but not in the distant past, that's for sure. Maybe within the last 5 years, 10 years. It's nice to camp near an old burn because there's always tons of firewood with all the standing dead dry spruce trees. It's a big spruce tree there for this area. Just completely torched. Must have been quite the flame. And it didn't jump to the other side of the river.
Burn, no burn. Where is the river going? Oh man, I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. Where the hell am I? I'm lost in some tiny little brae that's so narrow, and there's like a sweeper across the river. This is where sweepers can be dangerous. Like this one, for example. Oh. Yikes. Oh, sweeper across the fucking river. Oh, I was supposed to be at camp already. At the campsite I thought I was going to stay at, I was in the wrong channel of the braid, and like, it just sucked. Me. Where the f am I? I feel like I'm on just like a tiny intimate stream here. I don't know how the hell I wound up in here. I always take the channel that has the most water going into it, but somehow I ended up in this tiny little side slough. Oh no, I can't even see. Okay, so I think this is the main channel. Interesting little side adventure there, actually. It's pretty fun. Doesn't look too much like a main channel, but more main channel. Okay, I'm gonna go brave the sweepers. I think tonight's not gonna be a fancy dinner night for old Jim. I think it's gonna be like eat a can of sardines and go to bed. Although I don't have any sardines. I've smoked mussels though. You know what you're thinking, Jim. You have enough mussels as it is. But I'm talking about the canned mussels. Well, this doesn't seem like a good fishing spot, but seems like a place to call home for the night. I'm pretty weary. Probably paddled about 45 kilometers today. Now I only have to paddle about 43 kilometers a day each day. Anyways, this actually looks like not a bad spot here. There's a place for the tent right there that's flat. Driftwood around. I'll take it. O'clock right now, so I should be climbing into bed right now. I didn't mean to end this late, but there was nowhere else to camp and blah blah blah. But anyways, yeah, so I don't even think I'm gonna do a proper dinner tonight. I ate a bunch of trail mix really later on in the day, so I'm not too hungry anyways. Will I be wearing my dry suit tomorrow? I don't know. I'll consult the maps tonight and switch over to today's. I think I might have an intense canyon to deal with. Thankfully I haven't had to put this to the test. You don't have to bring a gun, but solo in grizzly bear country, I think probably be safe to say that's recommended. Makes my wife happy too. But if you're with a large group, you probably don't really need one. I don't think most people bring one, except when if they're traveling with small kids and stuff like that. But me alone here, solo, grizzly bear country, probably not a bad idea. That's gonna be dinner for tonight. smoked mussels. My favorite part of the day is upon me. The part of the day where I change into nice, dry, socky poos and boots. Considering I'm just eating a tin of mussels and going to sleep, I'll be taking them off momentarily. It's just such a nice feeling to get on dry footwear. I'm gonna definitely let this scene play out. This is the best thing I've shot all trip. I would consider this advanced level bushcrafting. Do some smoothing like that. Sometimes, you know, in a pinch that'll work. Sometimes you might want to take a couple days really to perfect it. Take the week off work and just really get it perfect, but for out here that'll do. Couple weeks off work if you really want to get it perfect, but this will do. Getting into some Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid is my only vice out here, if Kool-Aid can be a vice. Today was a good day. I got a late start and still managed to do 45 kilometers. My shuttle doesn't leave Mayo to drive me back to Whitehorse until the 5th, but my float plane pickup is on the 3rd because Alcan was booked on the 4th. So I'm gonna send them a message on my inReach just asking if there's any more openings on the 4th, because to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind an extra day out here so I wouldn't have to be so rushed. Maybe actually get a chance to do some gold panning and some trekking and some fly fishing and that kind of stuff. But even if it's just doing what I did today again and again, hopefully with getting to have a fire and dinner, I'll still be having a good trip and hopefully be capturing some good footage for everybody. But I guess that's it for me. It's probably 10:45. Look how bright it is out here. Land of the midnight sun. I'm gonna turn in good night, and tomorrow is gonna be an adventure. We got likely some intense whitewater, a canyon, it might be a portage, it might be a run. I'm gonna have to get my spray deck set up and make some decisions. My guess is it will be runnable, but I might be being optimistic, so fingers crossed. We'll only know till we get there. Now for one coffee and a top up. I went over the maps a little more, and I think I'm gonna take the time to climb Nitro Mountain. I'll basically camp where I'm gonna start the hike from this evening. So I'm gonna bang off 35 kilometers today. I am gonna be going through some canyons today, but they're not really whitewater canyons. So I think I'm gonna risk not putting my dry suit on and leaving the spray deck off in order to just save time and get out of camp quickly, because that takes some time. Yeah, this river, it hasn't really needed a spray deck because there hasn't been the big waves, but it still has been very spirited, consistent, ripping current, tight bends. You're always on your toes. You know, being as remote as it is, those sweepers can be dangerous. You know, it's hard to grade it compared to just a typical whitewater river that's just flat water and then a big rapid, where this one is just constantly seems like somewhat of a rapid. I brought my fly rod with me, catch some grayling, maybe a lake trout, and so I think I'm gonna rig that up before I leave, bust out the fly rod and try a few casts at promising looking spots. Of course, I don't have a ton of time for that kind of stuff because I still got to bang off 35K, but I should be able to do it all. my trip is nearing the halfway point. Feels like I just got here. Beautiful so far, like loving it. Loving this river here, this clear water I'm on. It's making me thirsty just to look at. Wow, this is super cool. Big sloping bluff coming right into the river here. Some fun standing waves. The current slows down and that fast current hits the slow current. And that's what creates a standing wave. So standing waves aren't made by rocks, they're made by fast water hitting slow water. You notice the current's a little slower here. And standing waves are those waves in a rapid that you see it just stay in one place. They'll just stay there. It makes that noise. Sometimes more like, sometimes, but mostly, and sometimes it's like, but not too often. Well, I might do a little bit of fly casting in this spot, I reckon. Well, there doesn't seem to be much of a back eddy or area where there's no current here. It's also shallow. Typically the fish like a little back eddy with no current. They can hang out there and pick off food that's drifting down in the current. So this might not be the best spot, but you never know. This isn't a tributary either. It's just another braid feeding the main channel of the river. Well, bummer, no luck here. I think I did see a little one jump out there, but there's too much current, it's too shallow, not enough of a back eddy. Once I get out of these braids, I think it'll be better and I'll pick up the next tributary and fish there. But beautiful spot to stop and take a few casts. I'm gonna call this no fish bluff. It acted like there was fish there, but it was bluffing. I'll be here all night. I'd say try the fish, but there aren't any. Actually looks like there's about 100 yards of river where there's not a ripping tight turn with sweepers everywhere. I just tucked my rod under the carrying handle at the front there. As long as I don't jump in the canoe and like stomp on the rod and break it, it should be okay. For the most part, the tip's tucked down low, so branches sticking out from shore probably won't catch it. It still potentially could happen, so I'm taking a bit of a risk, but no risk, no reward. Kingfisher with a fish. Huge mountains there, peeking up in the distance. There's all these little falcons. I think they're called kites. They're small, fast birds of prey. And looks like there's at least 2 nesting pairs up there, and they didn't like the fact that I was coming close. So they're chirping at me. This is awesome, guys. It's surreal. What weather too. When I was on the bottom plume, it was just like pretty freaking cold, and I had frost in the middle of July. Can't hold up for too long. I'm sure I'll get some nasty weather sometime, but this is just epic. Well, it appears that the creek mouth I was going to fish at must have been hidden behind one of the islands in these braids, and I went past it. It should have been there by now. Unless I'm making terrible time, which is, you know, all too possible. Yeah, you got to be on your toes in these braids. You know, you'll come around the corner, there'll be ripping current. It'll be pushing right up against a cut bank with trees falling down, bushes in the water, sweepers ready to knock you out of your boat or even pin your boat. It can be very dangerous. But there are a lot of nice stretches where it's not so challenging too. Here's a deep section. Super deep here. Figure it's not a bad idea to stop and stretch the old legs anyways. Scarf some trail mix. Hopefully I can get into something here. I don't know. It looks deeper. There's no tributary, just a back eddy, but it's deep. The last spot I tried, there was no still current, no real back eddy, and it was shallow. I got one. This must be what the kingfisher had. A tiny baby grayling. On to the next spot. Just paddling up to the foot of a gorgeous mountain. It's like a diamond. Looks like a big pointy diamond pointing upwards. Ooh, a cool breeze. Oh yes. Oh, I need that. Just cooked there while I was fishing. But a bit of a rapid coming up. Just looks like one rock or hole that I gotta miss to the left, but the left looks shallow. So hopefully I don't get swept into it. Well, I think this is definitely my favorite stretch of the river so far. Just awesome. Canyon-like, the mountains are right beside the river. Unbelievable. I've been taking my time going through it because I just don't want to blast by it. It's so awesome. Somewhere in the distance, the gambler he broke even, and in his final words I found an ace that I could keep. Well, just coming up to the West Hart River, and it is definitely dumping a load of sediment into the crystal clear waters of the Hart, but maybe it's not extremely substantial and the water will still be clear enough. I don't know. Well, it's around here where the heart-shaped rock from whence the river got its name, Gwich'in name is supposed to be. I don't see it though. And then what's a heart? Like, I don't think Gwich'in people back in the day had like a heart, like a Valentine's heart shape either. Could it be that? Not really shaped like a heart. Maybe this? We're still headed through this canyon lands here, and it is amazing. A lot of canyons have rapids in them. Well, this doesn't really, but it gives you time to actually look up and take in the grandeur and beauty of the canyon walls and ridges and mountains. It's pretty freaking awesome. Looks like I won't be rolling into camp till pretty late again today though, but no point in getting stressed out about it. I think that's Mount Nitro right there. That's what I'm gonna climb tomorrow. It wasn't until after the Klondike gold rush had started that there became a police presence in the Yukon. The Northwest Mounted Police came in to bring about some kind of order, and they had a winter route between Dawson, which was the kind of heart of the Klondike, at Fort McPherson, which is down the Peel River actually in the Northwest Territories. And their winter route, very arduous and long, I think crossed the Hart River somewhere around here. It even followed it for a little short bit. And there's old foot trails, old travel routes from Gwich'in people who spent a good portion of the year in the mountains here and traveled migratorily from here down river and back up. And you know, I'm just sort of feel that connection with this incredible country around me, but in a part I feel sad that I'm never really gonna know it like some of the people who spent their lives getting to understand the movements of nature and being able to spot an animal so well and communicate with animals, calling them, understand their movements, and just be really a part of nature and of this environment in a much deeper sense. Unfortunately, that's a dying way, and like a lot of people, you know, you take the path that'll try to pay the bills and make money, and less is learning and understanding those skills, a way that you can actually make money. To me, even though it might not be practical and in a sense that it might not pay the bills, to me it's just worth so much more than money. That knowledge, it really is. Here, fishy, fishy, fishy. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yes. Oh, I lost it. Well, it looks like the water's still clear enough for Grayling to hit. There's one. Small. Ah, the smell of Arctic Grayling slime on my hands. I'm just looking at these epic cliffs, colors in the rock, little trees studding some of the ridges, the sun catching some of them, little pillars sticking up. So cool. That looks like a good fishing hole there, but I'm almost at camp and it's so late. I'll have to put my fly fishing dreams on hold, I think. So Nitro Mountain is essentially right here. So I'm looking for a campsite on the left. First thing I see, I'm gonna jump out. Wow, this is just incredible. My hike tomorrow up Nitro Mountain. It was named after Joe Nitro. I'm not sure if he was related to Gladys Nitro, who was one of the people that spearheaded the protection of the Peel Watershed. One of the last completely intact watersheds in the entire world. The Snake, the Bonnet Plume, the Hart, the Wind River are all tributaries of the Peel Watershed. It was slated for major development, and after a very long battle all the way to the Supreme Court, the majority of it has been protected, and not protected as a park, just protected as, okay, we're not going to go mess this place up. So it's pretty special. Real debt of gratitude is owed to these people, the real heroes. Well, I made it, my 35K. There's a little creek pouring in here. Mount Nitro is right over there. It's looking extremely challenging, but I'm gonna give it a shot tomorrow and set up camp here. This looks like a decent spot. I'm gonna go check it out. See if I can find a flat space, but another long day on the water. Oh, the knees. There might even be some fish here. But that is the way that I'm gonna hike up to the mountain tomorrow. Looks like a half decent place to camp. Yes, indeed. A beautiful site. Looks like some others have camped here before. I'll take it. Wow, beautiful site. Awesome view. I could smell that forest fire smoke in the air now. You barely see the mountains in the distance. Always a tinge of concern. Hopefully the wind changes and it blows out of here, or else I'm not going to get much of a view from the mountaintop. I'm going to do a pizzadilla. I'm going to fold it over so I can flip it, because last time it didn't work out too well for old Jim. Hi-yo. This is a beautiful spot. There's a fire pit here. Typically what people do on these rivers, which is great, is just it's a leave no trace principle, where you don't build fire rings and leave them. And most of the time, if anybody did, they're camping on the gravel bars, and they all just get washed away the next spring anyways. All right, let's check this out. Let's see how these look. Look at the cheese. Look in there. Traveled a long way today. The canyons were amazing. I'm gonna go down and get some water and tuck in for a well-deserved rest. After today, I have 5 days left to finish this trip, so wish I had a bit more time. I'm feeling a little pushed, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna just take the time to do this hike.